Okay. So for those listening, as your experience, Amazon is Amazon, we already know. For Walmart, you focus on running paid ads, get your content converted using AI and different marketplaces, localize it. And then TikTok is there's no paid ads, it's just UGC, and then reach out to influencers based on your niche. That's what I'm hearing. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean TikTok you can do paid ads for sure. And then Walmart, it's like there's not as many types of advertising that you can do versus Amazon. Um, it's kind of basically just your keyword targeting and your basics. But you're not going to really, it's just like Amazon when you launch a product, like you're not just going to list a product and then see sales, especially on Walmart. So without PPC, you're not going to see any traction. So I would definitely say to have the long-term patience on these platforms, that it's not a get rich quick scheme, but you're playing the long game, and your brand ultimately is going to be worth more when your sales ratio is a little bit more diversified versus being single, like, solely on Amazon.
Yeah. So don't focus on Amazon only. I mean, the another thing that happens is whether you sell on Amazon or Walmart or TikTok or wherever or different Amazon marketplaces, it's the same inventory that services all these channels, right? And
Yeah.
there's only so much inventory. So, and if you do something right, and you can't do everything right in every marketplace, so you have to have some kind of focus, and you automatically gravitate towards the one that has the most market share, and that's Amazon. And then if you do it well, then suddenly your volume is going to consume all your inventory, right? I mean, that's the reality of it. So how do you deal with that?
Well, I mean, lead times and planning forecasting inventory is definitely, I think, a challenge. But one of the things to consider too, Nick, is like what we discovered was we had a couple SKUs that didn't do well on Amazon, but do really well on TikTok. Even the one that stocked out, even when I got back in stock, continued to sell more than Amazon. So I'm not going to say that's going to be every case, but some platforms, some SKUs just may do better. And so you may have an Amazon dud that for some reason may just do better on TikTok. So I wouldn't discount that. But then obviously the more sales you generate, my sales on Amazon year over year are not looking great, by the way. So like adding these other platforms has been good for me. So I'm not necessarily struggling with like, oh crap, I've got too many sales, I didn't plan for it. We've got inventory, but you would need to forecast that if you are adding in extra sales mixes to make sure you have the inventory to cover it.
Yeah, because I mean, it could be like self-sabotaging if you are limiting inventory. Because with Amazon, it's all about sales velocity, conversion,
Right,
and the better you do, the more sales you get, and the more sales, the more inventory you need, and the more inventory you put, the more sales. So it just goes
right.
on. So
Well, what I did with Walmart was when I placed my order with my supplier was I said, hey, create 50 units of each SKU additional for Walmart, and I send it to WFS. So I kind of separated the purchase order out. That way I wouldn't be missing Amazon sales. Um, but that's one way to do it if you want to make sure you're not, you know, trying to shoot your leg off by running out of stock.
yeah, so the strategy I'm hearing is uh, plan replenishment for each channel separately, and then take those items that may not do well on Amazon and focus on them on other channels because they may do well, right?
Right. Because on Walmart, if I ran out of stock, if I sent 50 units in, it's not the end of the world. So that's why when I started, I separated the purchase orders out per platform to plan like an initial, set number of units. And I kept my Amazon stuff, as is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that would make sense. I mean, splitting the purchase orders is one thing, but obviously you have to have the right kind of calculations in order to
Yeah.
project. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you give us your approach on figuring out projecting what each channel is going to sell? How do you do that?
Oh man, I'm a kind of guy that throws spaghetti against the wall. I've got a bunch of businesses and too many hats to wear. So I mean, look, my sales mix now, Amazon's about 5%, right? So however many units you're doing on Amazon, multiply that by 0.05 and then forecast for 2 or 3 months of that. So, end of the day, some of this is more of a gut feeling. I'm not as scientific as I should be, but that's the way I would do it. I would just start with a low risk, 50 units, whatever it is, and then just see how it goes. Like I said, if you stock out, it's not the end of the world. You just send more. You're mainly just trying to test the concept. So you don't want to send 1,000 units to Walmart and realize you're selling like 30 units a month, because then you just shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm trying a new marketplace, I try to start with a low risk and low barrier to entry.
Yeah.